I guess at heart I am an adventurer, someone who loves being outside, loves the outdoors. I grew up sailing in Wellington Harbour, and that was, I guess, one of my first tastes of the power of the outdoors. I grew up, from 8 years old sailing on that harbour, feeling the salt spray on my face and the power of the wind, and I've never really looked back. I've just craved those experiences in the outdoors, whether it be climbing mountains or sailing boats across oceans, or mountain biking or skiing or rock climbing or surfing. I just feel at peace when I'm outside. For someone who had followed their passions their whole life, for all of a sudden to think that was just gone in an instant, that was, mate, it was devastating. Absolutely devastating. A friend of mine had invited me to go to Australia, to Queensland, to work in a bauxite refinery. And I was working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week at this refinery. I was craving some stress relief, really. So one morning, Ocean and Kirsten had said to me, "Oh, we're going to go down to the local park. Do you want to join us?" And I said, "Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'll skateboard down there and I'll meet you." And I set off down the street, just weaving my way down, just having a great time. And I was just surfing a wave, basically, in my mind. And as I leaned into the turn on that final corner, I looked up and there was a car just right there, just appeared out of nowhere. And it was on my side of the road. And I tried so hard to avoid it. I leaned over as far as I could, but there wasn't enough time, and we just hit head on. And then the next thing I knew, I was on the ground in excruciating pain. Then the ambulance turned up and the paramedics asked me that question, that can you move your legs? And I sort of tried, and there was no way. I just had no feeling. I couldn't move my legs. Kirsten, minutes later turned up. She'd obviously heard the siren and someone had gone down to get her.
As I came up the rise, I saw the ambulances and him lying in the middle of the road, and I was like, oh shit.
And the look on her face when she saw me, she just went white. I think she vomited her. She was just, and I knew that was it. Life would never be the same. I was in Brisbane spinal unit for 4 weeks before flying back to Burwood, and I left Burwood after 6 weeks at the end of August 2012. The first time I saw a mountain bike after my injury was the first time I came out of Burwood spinal unit, and I was in the car with my wife, and I saw a group of guys on their bikes, and I just cried. I just cried, at this overwhelming grief, just thinking I would never be able to ride a bike again. I did some research and I discovered there was, some hand bikes that have been adapted for off-road use. They're trikes. I call them a bike, but they're tricycles. But I couldn't access the same tracks that they used to ride. It's just the trike was too wide. So I thought, why not build a two-wheeler? Is it, could it be possible? So I found a whole group of people. I found about 10 different guys with all different backgrounds: engineering, electrical, industrial design, and just some of my mates said, let's brainstorm, let's see if this is possible. And that's how the bike project started. I guess one of the first people I approached was Tim Cox, and he's an amazing industrial designer based here in Christchurch.
What is it like to work with Mike? Terrible. Can't stand it. Most days when he comes in, it's just bullying and heartaches.
Mark Banfield is an engineer, and he's one of the most generous guys I've met. I really committed to building the bike with the guys in August 2015, and we would work 2 nights a week, sometimes more, sometimes less, in Mark's garage, and I managed to convince Tim to dedicate a day a week. And I think all the people I've invited to help with this project have seen that they're helping someone who used to love the outdoors and love their freedom experience that again. I believe it's important to have a sense of freedom, and I'd like to share that with as many people in my situation as possible. It hasn't been done, and that's a challenge in itself. The whole process of designing, building, and then potentially marketing a new product is incredibly fascinating. To just feel like you're able-bodied again, you know, to feel like you're independent and just like everybody else. So the bike is a standard-looking bike that's electrically powered. Some of the, I guess, issues, challenges we had to overcome included how do you get on and off, you know, a bike independently if you use a wheelchair or you can't use your legs. How do you know, how is it stabilised? You know, how do you stop and start without it falling over? And these are some big challenges to overcome.
By the end of June 2016, we were ready to test prototype 1 for the first time.
Now, how do I do this again?
Leg over. One leg over first.
Yeah, I'm keen to go. It's time, it's ready.
Famous last words, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, let go. I mean, today was amazing. Just riding around that paddock on a bike. It takes me back to seeing those guys on their bikes down Colombo Street for the first time after I broke my back. I've ridden a bike, you know, I never thought that would happen. Now we've got to make sure we can take this to the world so that other people can experience that same buzz, you know, that same freedom.